Hi, good evening. A resounding win there for India in the first ODI against Sri Lanka in Colombo. Shikhar Dhawan leading from the front there, scoring a half century on debut. In fact, he is now the second highest run scorer on debut as India ODI captain after Sachin Tendulkar. He is the sixth Indian to score a half century on captaincy debut in ODIs. Tendulkar, of course, the only Indian to score 100. He also did that against Sri Lanka. Shikhar Dhawan there, unbeaten at the eighth end with 86 of 95 balls. A very controlled innings. It was very, very mature and something that really uh, defines Shikhar Dhawan. Such a complete team man. He was there alongside Prithvi Shaw as the opening combination for India. The Prithvi Shaw, as usual, getting off to a very explosive start. But he unfortunately fell for 43 of 24 balls. But what a start that was from Shikhar Dhawan. Just carrying on from his form at the Vijay Hazare Trophy, where he got 400s at that record-breaking season there. But the match also belonged really. Before I go to the bowlers and how India completed a clinical all-round victory over the Sri Lankans. It also belonged to Ishan Kishan, who scored a half century on debut, and of course Surya Kumar Yadav there with a cameo at the end. He came into bat at number five. So well, that's what the match looks like now. Sri Lanka scored 262 for nine of their 50 overs, and India 263 for three there, winning with 80 balls to spare and by 7 wickets. That's a massive, massive victory. But you would have expected that from the Indians, really. Very strong team, despite the fact that the main team under Virat Kohli is currently in England and preparing to play that test series there. But this team, what a performance that was. First off, Sri Lanka decided to bat after winning the toss, and some brilliant bowling performances there, especially from Prunal Pandya, who was very, very economical, 10 overs, 26 runs, and the Kulcha pair of Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav there getting back together after so long. They did well. Kuldeep Yadav picking up 2 wickets in his 9 overs, giving him 48 runs. Chahal picking up 2 for 52. So they were on the wickets. Little expensive there, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but he's been such a master operator with the ball. He will turn things around. He his 9 overs win for 63 runs. Deepak Chahar also 2 wickets for him, and Hardik Pandya only bowled he bowled 5 overs and he got a wicket as well. But Sri Lanka would really be ruining a lot of their batting performances. They got off the starts. A lot of their batsmen got off the starts. Avishka Fernando there, Minod Bhanuka, the opener, Bhanuka Rajpaksa coming in at number three on debut. There were runs from Dasun Shanaka as well, 39 or 50. But unfortunately, none of them could capitalize. Only a cameo there at the end from Chamika Karuratne, an unbeaten 43 there of 35 balls. That was the crux of that lower order assault against the Indians, which helped Sri Lanka post a respectable score. But then again, 262 was never going to be enough against a strong Indian batting lineup. So there it goes, right? This is not really a second string Indian team. This is an Indian team which is in Sri Lanka to compete and win this ODI and T20I series. The first ODI, of course, of a three-match series. Then India will play Sri Lanka in a three-match T20I series. So that's what it looks like. India have won by 7 wickets with a lot of overs to spare. That is a cracking victory, the massive, massive victory with 80 balls to spare. Shikhar Dhawan, of course, led from the front with an unbeaten 86. And Ishan Kishan, what a debut for him, what a birthday for him. Remember, Ishan Kishan is also uh, one of only two batsmen to score 50s on the T20I as well as ODI debuts. Ishan had scored a half century on his T20I debut against England earlier in the year, and then he was picked for this limited overs tour of Sri Lanka and justified that selection. He's just shown why he's such a potent batsman. He's got runs in the IPL. He's done well in the domestic circuit, and tonight he was just brilliant against Sri Lanka. He was fearless, scored a rapid 59, and alongside Prithvi Shaw there at the top, he just got off to a flying start. He'd be a little gutted there, I believe, with his dismissal. He would have wanted to carry on and maybe who knows score 100. Um, Again, Manish Pandey at number four. The way he got out, he got some runs. He got off to a start. Uh, probably tad bit disappointed. He's wasted another opportunity, and a lot of people on social media as well thought, when there are so many other young players around it, and Manish Pandey has been around in the scheme of things for a while, he would be pretty disappointed with his um, performance. He would have wanted to stay there and close the game at the end with Shikhar Dhawan. But Surya Kumar Yadav getting to bat at number five again. He had a very impressive start to his T20I career. Remember, he scored runs in his first ever innings. Did not bat on his debut, but a sterling knock there. He got some quick runs. There about, I believe, it was only 30. Some really nice stroke play there from Surya Kumar Yadav, who was unbeaten of 31 of 20 balls in that inning. So it's good signs for India really ahead of the T20 World Cup. A few of these players could be in the mix, could be in contention for a couple of those spots in that T20 World Cup squad. So that's really good news for India. All the batsmen getting runs, apart from Manish Pandey, wasn't as explosive as the others, but uh, he did get a start, and you would have wanted him to stay there and finish the game for India. Well, should Manish Pandey be given more chances? In my opinion, he has failed so many times. I've seen some comments from Tarun Pradhan. Yes, look, Manish Pandey, I believe they might just persist with him through this ODI series, but there's also so much competition for places in this team. This is something that he should have really capitalized on. And the once you move on, because when you're looking at the bigger scheme of things for ODIs and T20Is, you'd really want to try and make a big statement in series like these. They're being watched, and their performances will be assessed when the team is named for the T20 World Cup and going forward. Um, Manish Pandey, well, he might get that run. He might get a couple of more opportunities in this ODI series. Maybe he'll just play through the ODI series, but he was you'd want him to really cement his place, right? He at least give himself enough runs to cement his place alongside some of the others that who doing so well. Look at the likes of Surya Kumar Yadav. They come in straight away, made an impact. Ishan Kishan come in straight away. Prithvi Shaw is an example. He's so young. He's so young, and there were murmurs after the Australian tour, the way he got out in the first Test match, in the first innings, and he's actually really turned it around after that with his performances in the Vijay Hazare, and now this one for India in in the first ODI. He was so good. He was just so crisp, so aggressive, timing the ball, his fluency. It was just absolutely. It was such an exquisite innings to watch. Akshat Harchalkar, will we see Shaw, Kishan, and Surya Kumar in the upcoming T20 World Cup? Very likely, very likely. You can't really count out the likes of Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar. With Prithvi Shaw, well, it will be an interesting selection. It will be a good headache for India to have. You looking at Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul probably as the first choice openers. If you're also looking at Prithvi Shaw, what about Shikhar Dhawan? He's never going to go away from contention in any of India's limited over squads. So but at least Prithvi Shaw is keeping himself in the hunt. He's keeping himself in the reckoning with his performances, with his consistency. As for as for Manish Pandey, that's what he needs to learn from so many of his younger colleagues. They just come in and grab that opportunity so quickly. So that's something that we really need to work out. Manish Pandey. That's really unfortunate to see a player of Manish Pandey's caliber throwing his chances away like that. It was sad to see. But yes, this date did belong to Shikhar Dhawan, the captain, captaining India for the first time, scoring an unbeaten 86. One of only six Indians now who have scored a half century on their captaincy debut, and Ishan Kishan, a half century on ODI debut, batting at number three there, uh, and just some terrific shots from the young Ishan Kishan, Prithvi Shaw, and Surya Kumar Yadav. So that's the update then from Colombo. India have won the first ODI by 7 wickets with 80 balls to spare. Massive victory that. And Shikhar Dhawan leading from the front. The scores: Sri Lanka 262 for 9 of the 50 overs. India racing away to 263 for 3 of only 36.4 overs. That was is just as one-sided as it can get. Yes, that score got some sense of respectability at the end, but for Sri Lanka, it was they would have known it was not going to be enough. against such a talented Indian batting lineup at a venue where run scoring has not been very difficult, where you've seen some really high scoring games, high scoring matches. So that's something India will be very, very happy with under Shikhar Dhawan and Rahul Dravid, the coach. It was just absolutely clinical. Dhawan, of course, he also, when he finished on 86 of 95 balls, when he reached 22 or 23 or about, he also brought up 6,000 ODI runs. So it was a very, very special evening indeed for Shikhar Dhawan. On captaincy debut, India, a victory for India, and runs for himself. And of course, from some of the other younger batsmen who are constantly in the radar of the Indian selectors. Well, that's that then. That's the update from Colombo, India's victory by 7 wickets in the first ODI against the Sri Lankans. We'll be, of course, back with a lot more through the course of the series. And of course, we're building up to the Tokyo Olympics, right, which starts in just a few days from now, later this week. So do stay tuned in to Sports Today. There'll be plenty, I promise you, there'll be plenty of action through this series where India are playing in Sri Lanka. And of course, from Tokyo, where the Olympics get underway in just a few days' time. Thank you so much for joining me. Do subscribe to the channel and keep supporting Sports Today. Thank you. Have a very good evening.